Just a few weeks ago, I found myself asking what I thought was a really simple question. How does Reform UK actually intend to pay for everything it keeps promising? Now, before anyone jumps into the comments, this isn't a video about whether Reform's policies are good or bad. That's another video for another time. It's not even really about Reform. It's about something much simpler. The numbers. Because every political party makes promises, but eventually every promise has to answer one very boring question. Who's paying for it? Whenever Reform spending plans are challenged in interviews or on social media or at public events, the answer often seems to come back to two things. Cut foreign aid, stop spending money on asylum seekers and illegal immigration. Now, those two answers seem to be the answer to everything. Eventually I found myself, really? Just those two things? So I did what every political nerd did. I opened a spreadsheet because I wanted to find out. Are they? So I spent weeks going through Reform's manifesto, contract with the people. Policy announcements, speeches, independent economic analysis, Treasury data and Office for Budget Responsibility forecasts. I wasn't looking to prove Reform right, but I wasn't looking to prove Reform wrong either. I was simply trying to answer one question. Do the numbers actually add up? And what I found surprised me, because not every number was wrong. In fact, some of Reform's proposed savings are actually based on reality. The question is whether they're large enough to pay for everything. And when I dug a little deeper, what I found was a hole that I still can't explain. Because when you add together Reform's major tax cuts and additional spending commitments, you're looking at a programme worth somewhere around £140 billion every year. The biggest costs include raising the personal allowance, cutting corporation tax, changes to inheritance tax, higher defence spending, additional NHS commitments and a range of other policy pledges. Now, none of that automatically makes the programme unaffordable. If Reform can genuinely find around £140 billion elsewhere, then the books balance. So the obvious question becomes, where does the money come from? Now, hopefully you're going to find this analysis useful and want to see more. If so, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel or give the video a quick like. Now, let's get back to it with the savings that Reform talk about the most. Foreign aid. If a government spends less on overseas aid, that's a genuine Treasury saving. You may agree with it, you may disagree with it, but the arithmetic is simple. The same applies to a point with asylum accommodation. If there are fewer asylum seekers requiring accommodation support, government spending falls. Likewise, reducing the size of the civil service should eventually reduce the government's wage bill. Eventually. These are all genuine savings. But that's where I started asking questions, because almost every time Reform is challenged about how it intends to pay for its programme, these same examples come up. Foreign aid, asylum, illegal immigration. Again and again, they're presented as the answer. If members and elected representatives are challenged on savings, they repeat the same lines. So even using generous assumptions, when I sat down with a calculator, I could only get to somewhere around 25 to 30 billion pounds in direct, easily identifiable savings. Now that's meaningful. It's not an insignificant number. But Reform isn't promising £30 billion worth of policies, it's promising around £140 billion worth of promises, which leads to an unavoidable question. Where does the other £110 billion come from? And this is where things get difficult. Reform argues that scrapping net zero will save tens of billions of pounds. Critics argue that many of those costs aren't actually government spending. Some relate to private investment, some are spread over decades, some are already contractually committed. Then there's welfare reform. Could savings be made? Probably. Would they be as large as claimed? History suggests that's much harder to achieve, and almost every government for the last 30 years has promised huge welfare savings at some point. And then we come to economic growth, and this is probably the biggest distinction of all, because there's a huge difference between saying, we've saved 20 billion, and saying, we think the economy will grow faster, which could eventually generate another 20 billion in tax revenue. One is money you've actually saved, the other is a forecast, and forecasts may turn out to be right, but they're not cash sitting in the Treasury today. And that's a very important distinction, especially following the impact Brexit has had on growth. After working through Reform's own documents and comparing them with the independent analysis, I've come to a fairly straightforward conclusion. I can't make the sums work. I can account for somewhere between 50 and 80 billion pounds worth of plausible savings if I'm really generous. Reform's programme looks like it's going to cost 140 billion, and that's leaving me a gap of roughly 60 to 90 billion pounds. And despite everything I've read, I still can't explain where that money comes from. And that's where the real debate begins. So here's where I genuinely would like your help. If you're a Reform supporter, show me. Not opinions, not slogans, not memes, not insults. Show me the policy. Show me the costing. Show me where that 60 to 90 billion pounds comes from. Because if I've missed something, I'll happily explain it and examine it in a follow-up video. Because if I've got something wrong, I'd rather know. Equally, if you're sceptical and you think this is all hogwash, where do you think the biggest weaknesses in the figures are? This is what comment sections are designed for. Politics is full of arguments about values, but government is also about arithmetic. Every pound spent has to come from somewhere. Every tax cut has to be funded. Every manifesto eventually has to answer the same question. Do the numbers actually add up? Because eventually every government has to pay the bills, and arithmetic doesn't care about politics, and eventually someone has to pay the difference. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.